Today's postcard is from the Royal Borough of Wick, the county town of Caithness. Ian, where does the Wick story begin?
In its modern sense, Russell, you could say it began with the arrival of the Vikings around about 900 or thereabouts, and they settled just on the north side of the river. It really slumbered until 1776.
Nothing much happened?
Nothing much happened.
Bit of fishing?
Wee bit of fishing and farming, not in the sense as we would recognise it now, but the local landowners had a few cattle and sheep and things like that, but nothing much. It just slumbered along round about a population of maybe 600, and that would be in the whole parish, of course, not just in this area.
And the name Wick, is that a Viking name?
That's a Viking word, just means bay, because it is the only bay of any size that can be used as an anchorage or a harbour on the whole north of Scotland.
Is it really?
Yes, the only one, till you go to Invergordon.
So we then get to this time in the 1700s.
Yes.
The slumbering stops and Wick wakes up.
That's right. And it woke up not through its own resources at all, but through the visitation of an organisation called the British Fisheries Society. Now, the British Fisheries Society was set up by Act of Parliament, in fact, as all societies had to be at that time, and mostly comprised of landed Scottish gentry who were expatriates in London but were wealthy. And they decided that following in the aftermath of the 1745 rising, which was only 30 years before that, the appalling social conditions, because most of the clans then made their living by warfare and stealing cattle and all that kind of stuff, but that was stopped. So there was huge unemployment, and the government always had one eye on the Highlands just in case there was another move in that direction. So the British Fisheries Society was formed to set up exactly what its title says, to see if there was any way in which fishing on an industrial scale could be pursued in the whole north of Scotland.
So what would actually happen then now to Wick? Were we about to witness a boomtown? Yes,
we were indeed, because they chose to build their main port here, mainly because of the influence of Sir John Sinclair. Now, he was also a member of the British Fisheries Society's board, and he influenced them to come here. And of course, their chief engineer was Thomas Telford. The great Thomas Telford. He planned and built that area we're in now and all across there.
Oh, Telford Street.
That's all
I saw
Telford's work, all that, of immense historic importance. Because it was, I digress a wee bit, but he designed and built the first industrial estate in Britain. That's a custom-built industrial estate that was designed 200 years ago. There it is across there. And if you look at the skillful way in which he built it and planned it. But Telford didn't come into play at the time we're talking about. What happened was the British Fisheries Society, seeing the close proximity of these huge herring shoals, decided to put their main town here. And they called it Pulteney Town, after Sir William Pulteney, whose real name was Johnston.
This is getting confusing.
After Sir William Pulteney, who was the chairman of the British Fisheries Society at the time.
So how many people was the town planned for?
Initially 1,000, and the harbour was planned for 300 boats. Now, by the time they had finished building the harbour, it was too small. Because what the British Fisheries Society did was they built it better than they knew. By making grants not only available for boats at a fixed rate of interest, they also made grants available for the supporting industries all around here. So not only did fishermen qualify for grants, but fishermen from other places qualified for grants, although they weren't based here. And of course they began to come here from other sides of the Moray Firth. And because such was the proximity of the shoals, and of course they were so dense, that the men were being able to borrow money and pay off their boats within a year and a half. And what it did was, what is of enormous economic importance to Scotland, for the first time, because of what the British Fisheries Society did, the working classes could afford to buy their own homes. Now you're talking here 150 years before this happened, generally throughout the country. It was amazing.